welcome to Impact in Motion. I don't know if you noticed this, but I have been sending out some polls to ask people for some name suggestions and some feedback about the name. And here we are, Impact in Motion. Impact in Motion is a series of interviews with people who are making an impact, who are driven by passion, purpose, and they're focused on the people around them through the different things that they do. And I am joined here today with Nadia, and she is a Russian artist who lives in Italy. She leads the Florence Classical Arts Academy together with her husband, and also she has been invited. She has just been invited to exhibit at the Winter Olympics in Italy. Would you, first of all, introduce yourself a little bit and add anything that we should know about this, but then also tell me about the invitation to exhibit at the Winter Olympics. So, who are you and what happened with the Winter Olympics?
Hello, thank you so much for invitation. It's really a big pleasure to be here and have that conversation. My name is Nadia Molugova, as Rainer mentioned, and I'm professional artist and founder of Florence Classical Arts Academy. And for many years, from 2009, officially we've been open here in Florence as an academy. We're offering professional art education and giving people the understanding about what is constructive drawing method, how to do really great art through understanding, not just copy what you see, but giving them a lot of knowledge about composition, anatomy, proportion, painting, drawing. We're going in plein air. We're working with sessions inside of museum, teaching them how old master did reproduce their art, and all of that impacting them to grow up for their professional knowledge as an artist, which is our purpose and our goal, to give them professional education in same time as a person who believe in the spiritual world. I believe what even education process by themselves it's such important, which is the influence for this is people with our worldview, with our like open heart, which is very really welcoming them, trying to build not just their knowledge professionally, but even impact them with education in general in more global context. That is what we're doing here in Florence. Yeah, and about Olympic.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
about the Olympics. Tell me about that.
yeah, which is about Olympics. I've been really pleased to be invited as a recognized project by Olympics Games, which is will happening in this year in 2026 in Cortina d'Ampezzo and Milano. It will be Olympics and Paralympics Games, and my exhibitions will be part of the culture project of Olympics Games here.
That
That
is,
was a very, a
I
very
heard about this a
pleasure.
few weeks ago, and it didn't surprise me because your
Mm.
art is amazing. But of course, it is
Thank
beautiful
you.
to hear about that, this opportunity. And one thing that you mentioned is it is not just about art. Actually, you have students in the Florence Classical Arts Academy from all over the world. And you mentioned it's not just about learning a certain type of knowledge or even skill, but it really is about impacting lives. And so I'd love to ask you about that. I love the word impact. And I'd love to ask you about your story, how art and people and purpose really all come together in your personal journey. So, when did you first realize that your art could do more than express and that it could
Sure.
impact and inspire others? What was that first moment that you realized that?
Yeah, probably, like I've been a little bit strange child from beginning, because normally child have those kind tendencies, they're not sure what they would like to do in their life. But I've been really sure from 6 years old what I would like to be artist. And by that time, I mostly like two things. I like paint and I like dance, which is I thought like, or this direction or that direction I will be choosing in my life. And I remember I was passing together with my grandma in front of a professional art education, which is in Russia. In time, we started to have it from 6 years old, not actually from seven, and I was six. Which is she brought me to that school just to show me what maybe in 1 year it will be opportunity to me, and. I was so inspired, and professor told me like, "Do you want to start already now?" And I was like, yes, I will be really love to start straight away, which is I was most youngest children in that school because they take me 1 year before I could enter. And the purpose of art and it's something which is I initially I know what it is, what I would like to communicate through art. That is my way of communication with the world, with people. And sensibility, artists normally have a really strong sensibility, even about a spiritual context. Like we're always influential by everything what's happening around, much more delicate respect of probably people who is more like in physics or math direction, which is this kind aspect always been like two blocks what I've been somehow develop from early age. And
So you said
when
from you were only about 6 years old when you discovered that that's what you wanted to do, and you already knew
exactly.
from that moment that there was a purpose in doing art. Can you specify that a little bit more? That is to communicate. You said to communicate
Yes.
what exactly?
This was my way to communicate with the world, which is I know what art. It's one of the way for me of what I will be say like choosing as a communicate to the world in general. Which is I was a lot of drawing different things, and especially strong was influence for me the color. Which is it wasn't so much about drawing, it wasn't so much even about composition, but it's how color influence on the viewer. And I was always so impressed by light and how light influence on things around us, like on the trees, on the mountains, on the river, on water, all reflection of the lights. And this was fascinating me from a really early age. And I believe what light really strongly influence on the people when we see everything around us, because light which is making a possibility visually to see everything what we have. In the darkness you don't see much color, but in the light color actually pop out, and those color influence, that is something what I discover my personal way of reaction on the visual art.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is, first of all, if anyone is just listening to this, go check out the video because I'm also referring to the room that you're in right now. And when I look around in the room, I think behind you I see a beautiful painting of, is that Kostya?
Yes, behind me it's a portrait
So
of my
the
husband.
portrait of your husband, but then there's also another painting there, and everything you just said, it reminded me of the phrase, it feels like you're communicating for because colors can only be seen in the light, and you're inviting people to step into the light, just like I'm seeing in this painting behind you.
Absolutely, yeah. That is the way of communication, because light reacting physically in for people in the way which is we actually enjoying it, which is we giving this is a testosterone of enjoyment of things what we see in the color, and another things what in color all different color solution come out, which is sometimes we called it professional world we called it coloristic, when like everything became a little bit more bluish or everything became a little bit more yellowish, and this is special somehow atmosphere which is you invited to enter in the paintings, which is it's how color influence on us.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. And what originally drew you to classical Russian painting? And also, how has that shaped your artistic expression today?
Yeah, we do have really strong, especially like I'm grew up in partially in like Soviet Union country, which is when I born, I didn't born in Russia, which is we didn't have in our passport when people asking me where you born, and I'm like I'm born in the country which is not anymore even existing, which is to say what I am born in Russia. It's not true, because in my original certificate of birth it's written USSA, which is I did born in the Soviet Union period. And by that time, we had education, which is, as I mentioned, for ballet, for painting, for music, started really early age. And that education, it's not like here, like art and joke for children, which is you're painting something, and the same time you're joking with them, like you're making this as a game. Neither. It's not what kind of education we presume. From early age, it's really like more professional approach and. Education what been built, it's actually knowledge what we receive in 18th 19th century from through Europe. A lot of knowledge what Russian art have, it came from Italy, especially Renaissance time, when was discover anatomy, discover construction of the body, perspective. A lot of color influence come from impressionistic time in especially in France, when color was influenced in our like culture way of see what is the Russian art. And this is mix between Italian really strong understanding drawing and colorful palette from Paris. This is from France. This is something what we considering Russian art, mix between those two directions. And I did receive this education started from 6 up to 13. I had that children's like school for the artist. After that, we're choosing to go to college or a special type of like university from 14, and I had another 5 years in that college. And after that, it's next step, which is going towards academy. And my academy experience I received here in Florence in Italy, which is I've been in academy, I finished Academy Brera in Milan. And after biennio specialistico, which is specialization, I finished here in Florence in Accademia delle Arti.
Right. Thank you.
That is my
Yeah. And you train with the Florence Classical Arts Academy. You train artists from all over the world. Can
absolutely.
you share one of the most meaningful transformations that you've seen in a student or in a class? Just tell us a little story of impact and transformation.
Like each time, each story is really special, which is each story have their own um, purpose and their own development. We have a lot of students, which is we see them arriving with level almost like with Russian context, it's like no level, which is no level of preparation. And after 3 years or 5 years, depends what kind of program they're choosing, it's a it's absolutely transformation of what we had in the first year and what we have in the third year. It's like it's totally different person who have skills, who have opportunity to communicate their dreams through art. And it's each story it was really amazing, especially like I could say about story maybe my good friend and person what I really admire. It was Inga. She was from Germany, and we did met with her in YWAM. She was in her disciple training school, and she did show me this a small book with her sketches. And it was, I remember, some hands, and the level of sketches was like really like low preparation, like she didn't had any preparation, but she was so inspiring, like, oh, like, could you please check if I do have a talent, if I could develop this in your school. And I was just encourage her, I said, like, if you have a dream, if you really wanted to develop the skill, um, like this is the way you need to learn, you need to receive a lot of knowledge, education about art, and you could shape your skill in the way which is you could communicate through that to people. And first of her few years, like first year and second year, she wasn't that good, which is her level, it was always like really like low respect maybe some another student. But she had really strong character, and she pursued really seriously her education, which is she did work so much. And by the end of fourth year, she was best in the class. And if it's somebody will be telling me what in Vivam when I was meeting her, what just 4 years, and it will be professional artist, I will be not believe. But this kind of change. what I see in people, and this is happening like each time, like each groups have these people who developing so much with a fully heart, fully dedication, and after we're putting this as work as an example for next generation in academy.
So what I'm hearing you say is because you described someone that had a passion and maybe a talent or something that she realized she enjoyed doing, maybe a sense of purpose even, but in in reality that isn't always enough in the sense that it doesn't
Yes,
all happen at automatically after that. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of investment, in
absolutely.
investment of time, money, resources, and really working hard those late nights and then really to master the skill that you're already passionate about. But I love this story of how someone chooses to invest into their passion, not just assuming that it's all going to happen automatically just because you love doing something, but it really takes an intentionality to invest into it.
Yes, because without actually your desire to invest in your career, not will happening anything. Actually, you mentioned about talent, and I will be bringing Michelangelo, which is he said 99% of work and 1% of talent. It's what he mentioned about himself. Which is here. I just would like to say what right now art. Generally, like globally looking at artists and the career of the artist, this doesn't look by a society as a something serious. This is looks like, oh, that is hobby. This is something what you could do at your home. It's not necessary to go through education to that. Why this is happening? Because it's a really few schools who is offering high level of education. Very often schools goes towards the conceptual art, and to bring people and really giving them the knowledge, it's how you sharpen them. But sometimes we have people who is arriving with the idea they're so talented, like they're already like masters, and they're just yeah, they're already 99 and they're 99%, and so they just need those one, a little bit to understand, a little bit sharp. And I always, I always laughing to see this kind category of people who really self sure, because after 1 year they're in crush. This is this is constant situation what we have, which is we have two category. One category which is very unsure, like, and maybe even their gift did not developed well, but they're putting a lot of effort to the work, and to get a proper education in classical art, to be able to communicate through like visual art really well. And another category who is arriving with the idea they're already master. And this category normal crashing in first year, because they do understand they don't know actually anything, and they need to put themselves humble down, because it's changing their character. They became more humble, they became more understanding. Okay, I actually need to learn a lot, and it's changing their character, which is from those like very fancy artists on first year. On second year we have just normal student who's like, I am ready to learn. And that is that is so funny to see this kind of transformation. But in same time, I believe it's really important for their life to learn this kind of things as well, because to be humble and always be ready to learn, it's so important, and not just for artists, for any of us. It's a really good part of the character which is we could shape. And
So what I'm hearing you say is if we actually want to learn something, if we want to grow in an area that we want to grow in, we need to have a humble posture of a
absolutely.
student wanting to learn, wanting to grow, assuming that we don't already know everything. And that reminds me of another quote. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have the quote ready right now, but you can't learn what you think you already know. So would you
Absolutely.
just going back to that one quote from Michelangelo, for the ones that don't know him very well, who is he and what did he say exactly?
Yes, practically it was one of the phrase what known written by Michelangelo. What he said, it's 99% of work and 1% of talent, and he was considered that about himself. And we know Michelangelo as a most incredible artist, which is globally impact the whole world. And if he was such a humble to reference that about himself, I think we need to put our legs a little bit more down on the ground and be ready and be open to receive information, be really say like maybe thankful what information existing, because this is something what I consider with time. Unfortunately, as I already mentioned, it's not so much schools who is teaching now figurative and classical strong foundation through constructive drawing approach. It's existing in professional art world different approach. It could be approach of size. It's one of the method when you are going on the perspective and start to copy things what you see, and it's one method. And another method, what we are teaching in academy, it's called constructive approach method. And that is approach actually taking a lot of effort of knowledge what artist needs to have. You need to be really a high educated person to be able to come out with art, your own composition, something which is you dreaming and it's coming from your head and you introduce it to the canvas. You need to know a lot. As I mentioned, you need to know if you would like to make a body, you need to know very well about anatomy. You need to understand all bones. You need to understand all muscle, and from different movement, which muscle its actual influence and visible. You need to know everything about perspective and how perspective influence inside of the human, how perspective influence inside of example landscape or another things. A lot of knowledge about color, how light influence on the color and what kind of effect that will be having the canvas, which is all those building of knowledge. It's bringing your say like you going outside of your box, which is you with this knowledge you could create something your personal. And this kind of education now is so rare because unfortunately professional art, classical art schools went into conceptual understanding about art, and a lot of professor now who is teaching globally in very famous art college or university or academies, they're mainly teaching conceptual approach. What does mean conceptual approach? We're talking about something, about topic. You come out with your original idea, and mainly you introducing. It's not matter anymore how you're doing this. It's matter who you are, how you express yourself, and in the end, with this kind of concept, they killed education inside professional university and academy, which is it's not anymore those chain of education from Michelangelo towards us. We are practically somehow lost those knowledge, and this is something what we would like to do in academy, which is we would like to bring this is knowledge and give it towards the students, which is you student choosing what kind style and direction you will be having in the future through a lot of knowledge what academy offering. That is
I
the
love
way
that
how it is.
every time I talk to you about this, I always feel inspired not just to look at the world around us superficially, but you really invest into looking into things more deeply. Just the way that you just described, when you paint a human body, you don't just paint what you see, but you have to really think about the anatomy. Even when I look
Yeah.
at again at the painting behind you, you don't just look at the light that touches on the surface, but what does that light do? How does it influence the world around us and everything we see? In fact, as we are recording this, and if you're listening to this, you're missing out because I keep seeing these lights reflections behind you, probably because of cars driving by outside, but it paints beautiful pictures on the wall and the ceiling behind you of the right light reflection from outside. I have one more question, and then we're going to wrap up this section, and then going to be another section later. Let's go back to what we started with. You're going to have an exhibition at the Winter Olympics 2025-26. What message do you hope that your art is going to bring to that global stage?
Sure. Which is this is special project. What I'm really thankful for committee of Olympic Committee Milano Cortina. What they choose me as an artist and this project, because that project particularly it's about plein air work, which is every single piece was done outside. When I'm physically taking my easel, my paints, and I went outside and painting from nature. It's not work which is done from photo or sitting in studio. Each single work it's done on plein air, and it's very difficult type of the work. It's much more comfortable to sit in your studio, paint in your studio, and other things to go in plein air, whereas could be wind, could be snow, could be cold, could be hot, could be rain, could happen anything in any moment. People who is coming behind distracting you, and like it was like thousands things what was happening with me in plein air, and that each single work have a lot of those kind of feelings. But this type of work, they're most powerful about color, because it's something what you see, you try to catch it, and it's practically remain this on the canvas, which is each single day, those moment, it's been depicted in the canvas, and it will be staying in that canvas, because this moment and this day never will be repeated again. Like it's always unique. Each day what we have in our life, it's unique. Light, surround situation, very unique. Clouds, what you have now, it's never will be repeated same. It's always will be a little bit different. Something will be different. And the moment when you're catching that through the nature, it's a remain in your picture. And as a person who a believer, which is I really believe in creator, and he just could create all that beauty. I admire things which is he done, and through this is particular work which is will be exhibit now in Cortina dell'Ampezzo and five-star hotel which is called Savoia, and this is work. Each of them have kept that light and my feelings. This is particular day, and this is what will be presented. I do have this is work done almost during 10 years, because I do had various commission from different hotels in Cortina dell'Ampezzo, and a lot of work it's already on the wall in the hotels. I have hotels in collaboration, which is La Jadira, and this is a hotel practically in each room have my work. You are so welcome just to visit. We had fun talking with owner, and he said maybe soon I need to change name of the hotel, because everywhere is just your work. I said, I'm not. Yeah, he was just joking. No, he was just joking. But I was people welcome to come, and La Jadira, name of the hotel, La Jadira. People are very welcome.
Okay.
And this is
So for the information of Nadia and also the Florence Classical Arts Academy in the links wherever you're watching or listening to this, even when you're saying this right now, I love that you're saying, when you look around, you're so inspired by everything you see in the mountains, because of what I'm hearing you say is you can just see the beauty of creation. And I love thinking about creation as a fingerprint of the creator. And what I'm hearing you say also is it inspires people that we are all created to create. And that I love your story, that it's a story of tradition, but also investing into certain passions and skills and maybe talents. But then also it is a story of impact and a multiplication of impact. So for now, I want to say thank you so much, Nadia, for this part, and we're going to close off this part. There will be another recording right after this that is going to be uploaded in as a different section. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for listening to this. If you're listening or watching, please let us know if there's anything that spoke to you specifically. Feel free to share this with your friends if you think it will inspire them as well, and come back for more Impact in Motion. Thank you so much, Nadia.
Thank you.